Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're peeling back the layers on a plane that honestly looks like it flew right out of a sci-fi movie, the Diamond DA-42. And believe me, the way it looks is just scratching the surface.
So, what is the story with this thing? I mean, you look at it, it's like a glider, but it's got diesel engines, and it's made of what's essentially high-tech plastic. This plane just doesn't follow the usual playbook. So, let's get into it and see what makes it so special. Yeah, right off the bat, you can just tell the DA-42 is a different breed. Those long, elegant wings, that distinctive T-tail, it's not just for aesthetics. Nope. That's your first big hint that the engineers who built this thing were thinking way, way outside the box. So yeah, forget what you know about traditional airplanes with aluminum sheets and thousands of rivets. This thing is practically seamless, molded from glass and carbon fiber. And what's powering it? Get this, twin turbocharged diesel engines. Seriously, the kind of powerhouse you'd normally find under the hood of a high-end European car. Okay, let's start with that body. Why in the world would you build a plane out of, well, a super advanced, incredibly strong plastic? It really all comes down to a few key things: strength, weight, and making it slice through the air as cleanly as possible. The secret sauce here is a concept called semi-monocoque. Now, what does that mean? Well, think of it like this. It's not just an empty shell, and it's not just a skeleton with a skin wrapped around it. It's both. You've got a strong internal frame, but the outer skin itself is also a critical part of the structure, bearing a lot of the load. When they work together like that, you get something that is just unbelievably strong, but also shockingly light. And this is really where that composite design just blows traditional methods out of the water. Think about it. Instead of riveting together hundreds of small metal panels, you can mold these massive, single, perfectly smooth pieces. And why is that a big deal? Well, for one, it's way more aerodynamic, less drag. It's lighter, and guess what? It doesn't corrode. It's a complete paradigm shift in how you build an airplane. And all that strength translates directly into safety. It's pretty incredible, actually. Inside each wing, you have two main structural beams. They're called spars. Now, this is where the design gets wild. This wing is so over-engineered that if one of those spars were to somehow completely fail, the other one is designed to take the entire load of the wing, all by itself. That is just an insane level of safety built right into the bones of the aircraft. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about those engines. Now, you'd think two engines are always better than one, right? Double the power, double the safety, and, well, you're not wrong, but you're not entirely right either, because having two engines introduces one of the single biggest, hairiest challenges in all of aviation. These aren't your typical airplane engines. Each one is a super efficient 135 horsepower diesel powerhouse. And fun fact, they're actually based on a Mercedes-Benz car engine. But here's the crazy paradox of flying a twin. That second engine is your absolute best friend, right up until the moment it quits on you. Because the second it goes silent, it transforms into your worst enemy. Now, your first thought might be, okay, I lost an engine, so I lost half my power. But it's so much worse than that. Because you haven't just lost power. You've gained an enormous amount of something you absolutely do not want: drag. And that right there is the heart of the problem. When an engine dies, if you just let the propellers spin freely in the wind, that's called windmilling, it's not just spinning. It's acting like a giant air brake, a parachute even. It creates this massive drag that tries to wrench the plane sideways, and suddenly you're in a real fight just to keep the wings level. So, how do you fight that? How do you neutralize that massive brake hanging off your wing? The solution is an absolutely elegant piece of engineering called feathering, and it's an idea that completely changes the game in an engine-out emergency. Okay, check this out, because it's really clever. In normal flight, you've got oil pressure pushing the propeller blades so they take a big bite of the air. But the moment that engine fails, that oil pressure vanishes. And here's the genius part. The system is designed so that when the pressure is gone, a combination of springs and counterweights automatically rotates the blades. They turn sideways, so instead of acting like a big paddle scooping the air, they slice through it like a knife edge. And just like that, most of that terrifying drag is gone, giving the pilot back control of the airplane. Okay, so we've talked about the body and the engines, but the smarts of the DA-42 go even deeper. This thing is just loaded with automated systems that are all designed to do one thing: make the pilot's job easier and the airplane a whole lot safer. It really is like having a secret co-pilot on board.
For example, the landing gear. If the normal system fails, there's an emergency release that just lets gravity do the work and they fall right into place. Each engine isn't just run by one computer, it's run by two. So if one ECU has a problem, the backup takes over seamlessly. It's all about building in these layers upon layers of redundancy.
You want to know how tough this plane is? Here's a number for you. 194 knots. That's almost 225 miles per hour, and that's the maximum speed you can safely extend the landing gear. In an emergency, that's a huge deal. It means the pilot has a very effective speed brake they can use to slow down in a hurry, all because this thing is just built incredibly strong.
Now this next one, this is just brilliant. One of the most high-risk situations for any pilot is a go-around, when you abort a landing at the last second. You're low, you're slow, and you're slamming the throttles to full power. It is a textbook recipe for an aerodynamic stall. Well, the DA-42 has a system that knows you're in that situation, and if you start pulling back on the stick too much, it will physically push the stick forward for you, preventing you from stalling. It's an incredible safety feature for a really critical phase of flight. All right, buckle up, because now we're diving into the deep end of multi-engine flying. All this tech we've been talking about, the feathering props, the smart systems, it's all designed to deal with one very specific, very tricky problem. And it's this. In a plane like this, losing one engine is not the same as losing the other. One is much, much worse. It's time to talk about the concept of the critical engine. I know, it sounds weird, right? But it's absolutely true. On a conventional twin where both props spin the same direction, clockwise in this case, a whole cocktail of aerodynamic forces all conspire together to make losing the left engine the worst possible thing that can happen. So why? Why is the left engine so critical? Well, it's basically a perfect storm of physics. When that left engine quits, four different forces all team up against you. You get a much stronger yawing motion pulling the nose to the left. You get a stronger rolling motion also to the left. The spiraling wind from the good engine, the right one, now completely misses your rudder, making it less effective. And as a final kick in the pants, the torque from that right engine is also trying to roll you to the left. Literally everything is working to send you into an uncontrolled turn, and the pilot has to fight all of it at once. So we've looked at the composite body, the diesel engines, the smart systems, and the tricky aerodynamics. What's the takeaway? What does this all mean when you put it together? The thing is, it's not just one feature that makes the DA-42 so special. It's the whole package. It's the way the strong, light airframe, the efficient, self-protecting engines, and all those smart, automated safety systems all work together. It's not just a collection of parts. It's a complete design philosophy that really represents a huge step forward for general aviation. And all of this innovation, it leaves us with a really interesting question for the future. As our aircraft gets smarter and more automated, does the pilot's job actually get easier, or does it just become different? Something to chew on. Thanks for joining me on this one.